Yeah.
All right. Thank you. I'm giving you additional information which were not provided in the general briefing. And I'm going to talk about 4 areas, and I'll put them in point form. One, let me once again confirm to you that the body of the late General David Major Dak was successfully extracted from Naser, where he was killed. He was not directly brought from Naser. His body had to be taken using a speedboat from Naser to Akobo, and from Akobo the body was picked and brought to Juba, along with the staff from ANMIS that was killed with him. The body was received at Juba International Airport by the Command of the Defense, led by the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, the Chief of Defense Forces, the Presidential Advisor for Security. Basically, the entire command was at the airport. As we speak, the body is Juba Funeral Home, and plans have started on the process of burial arrangements. So the command will sit and decide when and where he would be buried. And the command also confirmed that he will be accorded full military honors when he's finally being laid to rest. That's point number 2. Point number 3, after Naser was overrun, and the Assistant Chief of Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Gabriel Ruai, who also doubles as the General Chief of Staff for SPLIO, was arrested, along with rest, some components of SPLIO that was integrated into the system during the unification of second level of command. They started fearing, especially those who have been fueling and funding the conflict in Nasir. And that's why those who felt that they had been contributing towards arrest in Nasir by way of mobilizing, by way of providing funds, they took off. Some went into hiding here, some went to the nearest SPLAIO containment areas here in Juba, say Central Equatoria and Terekeka. Some fled as far as Laonwer areas. And as we speak now, we have the Deputy Director General for National Security, ISB, Lieutenant General Yeida, who was in charge of operations, fled up to Laonwer area with his bodyguards. And the leadership discovered that, all right, out of fear, whether real or perceived fears, I would like to use your platforms to, on behalf of command, appeal to those who were integrated into SSPDF during the first level, unification of level of command, and all from opposition, from IGO, that got integrated into the organized forces, that they are part and parcel of the current security setup, and therefore they have no reason to fear. Practically speaking, technically speaking, in terms of organization, they are part of SSPDF and the organized forces. But psychologically and mentally, they are still SPLIO, and that's why they took off. So we are appealing to them, to those who even went as far as Laonwer area, to come back. Those who are around, you come back, come and resume your normal work. Starting from the day this appeal is made and is spread, we are appealing to you to come back and resume your work. You have no reason to worry. That's point number 3. Point number 4 was after Naser was overrun, our security forces, at first, a big number was dislodged and took refuge at an island called Torjoy. Then the main barracks was captured and divided into two sections. We had one section, the armory unit, Malta de Babat, where the commander was held up for all those days. He was at armory unit. Then at the main entrance to where Yaradu, there was another armored vehicle that was being commanded by a captain. So these servicemen held their ground until Friday, Thursday. So, during the standoff, the White Army kept on attacking them at the two locations within the barracks. But for those that were dislodged and took refuge in Ireland, they were never attacked again. So after they stood their ground until Thursday, while we were fighting off, while Gerald, the late major, was fighting off repeated attacks, an agreement was reached that all those who were held up would be extracted, and the process would be facilitated by enemies. And that was how enemies got involved, but unfortunately it ended in tragedy. And of course, the commander-in-chief of SPLIO is Dr. Yap, gave assurances to our general that was besieged that all would be fine. The leadership of state and county were involved in the process. Then I'm sure you saw some pictures that were circulating when the general was being carried by a group of men in uniform. So at the point of him maybe getting onto the plane, a lot of fire was opened, and unfortunately we ended up losing him along with 26 others. Let me go back, that was on Friday. But on Thursday, there was a successful operation. The plane landed, and the captain that was in charge of a second armored vehicle was successfully evacuated. So the last one ended in total failure and death. Then now all those who were dislodged started finding their own ways. So as we speak in Wolang, like I said earlier on, we have over 70 in different locations and a big group of 150 intact heading to Gyalachal, where we have our security forces, the nearest military barracks. But the rest got scattered into Wolang County, and this is where the bone of contention is. So they got scattered, they sought refuge in different villages, and they have been given protection by different chiefs, different clans, and different leaders of the White Army. They have been protecting them up to now, including the ones in Akoba County. So, on behalf of Command of SSPDF, let me once again say thank you to all civilians in Wolang and Akoba counties for showing the highest level of patriotism, the highest level of nationalism, for shunning tribalism, for embracing culture and peace, but not culture of revenge. So we say thank you to them for the support they have been giving them. From the day they sought refuge in their respective homes, they have been giving them physical protection, mental security, they have been giving them food, logistics, without even one paying for it up to now. So we are saying thank you to those respective communities, individually and as a group. That's the message from Command. And let me reassure those who are still not yet back to us, is that we are working very hard to ensure that they are brought to safety, with the cooperation, of course, of the local population that is protecting them. We cannot get them to safety without cooperation and continued support of those individuals and the groups and the clans that took them into protection. So we are coordinating with them and all the friendly forces for them to be reporting to the nearest. For those in Akobo, the nearest military barracks is Wat of Neural County. For those in different villages in Wolang, we have the nearest at Gyalachal, the nearest at Baliet and Melakal. So we'll ensure that we coordinate so that they are taken to the nearest locations where we have presence. We are coordinating But there is interference, like I said, before some of you arrived. And let me repeat that, the interference that we have already registered is that we had agreed with the local population in Akoba County for those who arrived there to be escorted to what? It was put on hold yesterday after Dr. Riek personally interfered in the process. He had instructed the commander of Division 8, Major General James Utonglia, and Utong actually went and sent forces to where our servicemen are being protected with clear orders for them to be taken forcefully to SPLAIO base at Walgak. The local population refused. Dr. Riek to call the local civilians, persuading them to release them. They said, no, we are not sure that their security would be guaranteed. So they also refused. They said they either would be the one escorting them from point A to where SSPDF is, or they are picked up from where they are direct to Juba. So because there was that interference, Dr. Riek promised that he would provide a plane, an airplane this morning. So we are hoping that it will not end the way it had ended in Naser. And should anything happen, let the world know that there is already interference from Dr. Riek. Dr. Riek wants to hijack the credit that was given to the local population. He wants to hijack their credit so that he uses it for political leverage or for bargaining. So let everyone know that we are not playing politics. Our primary objective is to save the remaining precious lives. And any political interference that may end up like the one we had in Naser, the person who is interfering should be known. The last second information is that, I repeat, I had said it, but because some of you came late, let me repeat it again. That all along SPLI have been saying that they were not part of the fort that fought us. For those who came late, let me repeat myself, that the officer at the rank of colonel that led the armed White Army attack Naser and overran it was called Colonel Tor Gile Thorn. Colonel Tor Gile Thorn, until the day he was killed in Naser, was an SPLAIO officer. In 2019, he was a lieutenant colonel. He was selected by SPLAIO to go and attend training of the instructors for the Naser Unified Forces in Malakal. He was trained as an instructor and deployed at Panier in Bor County of Jonglei State. Somehow he found his way back to Naser, and just a week before Naser was attacked by the White Army under his command, he was clearly seen in military uniform addressing members of the White Army and giving them clear instructions that he was going to take Naser at any cost. And of course he did it. So the question is, this man was not a White Army personnel. He was an officer from SSPLAIO that was allowed to command the White Army in the fight for control of Naser. So SPLAIO is directly implicated. If they were not for it, they would have stopped him from mobilizing, from organizing, and leading members of the White Army. Even he was talking about logistics that he had mobilized. Combat service support logistics in terms of food, rations, and ammunition. There are videos that are circulating on social media regarding all the operational plans he had put in place. So if SPLAIO, the leadership of SPLAIO, under Dr. Riek and under Lieutenant General Gabriel Duoblam were not for it, they would have stopped him from continuing, and not only that, he would have been held accountable. Because the events were clearly aimed at breaking implementation of transitional security arrangements and peace. But they got away with it. So it is very important for you to come out clearly that SPLAIO is directly involved and should be held accountable for lives lost in Naser or elsewhere, and the international community should hold Dr. Riek accountable. He is the chairman and commander-in-chief. Thank you.
Okay, if you don't mind,
the civilians.
If you don't mind, could you give us history about this White Army for those?
I'm not an author on the issue of of the White Army. But I would say the White Army started as a local civil defense force, community force that primarily came together. I would say that it started way back in 1980s. You know, Anyanya 2 started in Akobo in 1975. Then they started calling themselves militia. You are from one clan, you buy your own guns, you use it for your own protection against the rival clans. But in the 90s, the name changed from militia to the White Army. But it's a local force that primarily they get together wherever there is a problem to fight, to protect their livestock and means of livelihood. But in the 90s, they got politicized and started getting involved in armed confrontations, especially during the first split of 1991. We had elements of the White Army coming with SPLA, by then SPLA Naser faction, led by Riek Machar. They came and fought alongside SPLA Naser faction. They came and over Rainbow. Some of them came to Equatoria under the command of then Commander Peter Bolgon. They came and fought here in eastern and central Equatoria. Then also in the 90s, they took part in attacking Malakal. So the White Army became active, fighting alongside opposition against the SPLA. And in 2013, the same. Okay. So White Army became part and parcel of any opposition whenever it is led by Riek. Or sometimes they degenerates into, they support various rival groups, but they are out clearly in large numbers. When it comes to Riek, most of the time, almost 99%, they fight alongside forces loyal to Riek.
Yes.
So they have different names. Yes. They call them, you know, with communities, Gelwem, what, Manyumaji in Eastern Equatoria, more or less the same. Maybe the difference with the other ones, that maybe they are not politicized, and they don't fight for political reasons.
So I wanted to know the situation of the civilians, because nobody is speaking about it.
Civilians where?
In Ulang and Nasir.
The local administration will speak for them. The commission of Naser will speak for the civilians in Naser, because in any way we do not have presence. SSPDF do not have presence after we were dislodged from Naser. So we have no way of getting direct information. So regarding civilians, the commission of Ulang, the commission of Naser will give you information.
Yes. I want to ask whether you still trust the process of evacuating the forces that are scattered into the communities. You say clearly that Dr. Riek has interfered with the evacuation. Do the general command of the SSPDF still trust this process and thinks it will be successful 100%? Or you have your own measures and ways you want to organize and evacuate these soldiers?
There is a saying, beaten once, twice shy. Why would you have a confidence in a process that took a life of a Major General plus over 30 servicemen?
Thank you, General.
You can never trust such.
You had said before that you would like those other IO officers who fled to come back but they say,
come back to their respective areas of assignment.
Yes.
And resume work.
Yeah, but they say they cannot come when...
Who said they cannot come? Did you speak to any of them?
I spoke to the spokesperson.
You spoke to the spokesperson. What did he say?
So it's why I'm asking you.
I did not hear you. What did he tell you? The spokesperson.
They say they cannot come back to these operations like the way you mentioned, because their boss has been imprisoned.
Who is that?
Dopla. Could you tell us, is he still in prison or are you in the process of releasing him?
He is still in prison. He's an officer in the SPLAIO. He was an officer in the SPLAIO and got integrated into SSPDF. But for some reason, maybe these officers, the former SPLAIO officers, at least they should go for psychological services, counseling. Okay, they are receiving salaries, they are working in their offices, but mentally there is still SPLA-IO. And with the mentality of SPLA-IO comes fear. How do you cure them from these mental diseases? IO and fear.
Yeah, the spokesperson of White Army said after reaching an agreement of extracting the soldiers, what triggered the fighting that led to the killing of Major General, that one of the SSPDF soldiers ended up opening fire or shooting at the forces that were on the ground. What is your take on that?
First and foremost, even it's wrong to respond to a known spokesperson of the White Army. I saw two letters, two releases, purported released by the spokesperson of the White Army. Mafi isim. Huh? Isim Mafi. Fulan, but just sign the spokesperson of the White Army. Somebody somewhere sitting abroad, maybe after this is now, Malade takes a break and writes on behalf of the White Army. Mafi is spokesman of the White Army. These people who are in diaspora, they are the ones that are fueling the conflict. Huh? Chual James.
Yeah.
When?
Say he's the spokesperson.
I have not seen a Waraga with a Chual James. Let me have a look at it first, then I'll respond.
So what would you say about the person I showed you, Ian Matthew? He's also, his audio is really trending and creating fear.
It's good. Will the habil firaka bitaw. Is it?
What is that?
He has put a rope on his neck, and if he's not careful, okay, bishanagubo. That rope is a good rope that could be used to hang him.
So where does he belong? I mean,
This guy, gal kurab tawa mind sumu.
the leg does not have what?
This guy, politically and militarily, is not stable. He keeps on jumping from one camp to the next. He had started with IU. He's a political nomad.